academic offerings started on the UGA Griffin campus back in 2005. We had 2 degree programs in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences at that time. Those were biological science and environmental resource science. Both of those are still offered here today, along with several more degrees, more in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, and also degrees through the Terry College of Business, Franklin College of Arts and Sciences, and the Mary Frances Early College of Education. But today, we have one of our first graduates from when we started these academic programs back in 2005. Kathryn Johnson completed the Bachelor's of Science in Biological Science in 2006 here on the Griffin campus of the University of Georgia. She went on to pursue a master's in plant breeding, genetics, and genomics. While she did that coursework for her master's in Athens, she came back home to the Griffin campus and did her research here for her master's. Kathryn, thank you for joining us today and telling us a little bit about your story. But can you tell us what first drew you here to the UGA Griffin campus?
What drew me was the way I heard about it was my dad heard an ad on the radio that they were finally offering courses at UGA Griffin. So I was like, had to go try it out, at least to hear what was going on, because I was not sure what I wanted to do with my career. So came and did a walkthrough and met a bunch of great people and just realized that this is going to be groundbreaking to be on the first class to start at Griffin. So, which was awesome. And yep. Lost my train of thought. Okay. So one of the things that Griffin offered, besides small class sizes, which was great, was the chance to work and learn from researchers directly, people who are in your field or in making applications of what you were learning. So that was a different perspective than usually what you get at other colleges. So that was awesome. I also like the fact that I could get out of college in 3 semesters and be done, which I did. But then I realized afterwards, I was like, wait a minute, now what? I have my degree, but I have no idea what to do, which ended up a good thing for me. I was visiting a classmate that summer, and one of the professors was like, hey, you need to come back and work for me. So I started working in the small grains lab at Griffin. And the breeder, Dr. Jerry Johnson, was awesome and just kind of took me under his wing. It was like, you need to go back to grad school. So going from not knowing at all what I wanted to do to being pushed and encouraged nicely to go back to grad school was awesome. Like, I don't know how often that happens of, hey, you get, I don't want to say bullied, but really talked into doing something like that.
You know, one of the things that when you and I talked earlier, you kind of talked about when you first came here, I think you were thinking pharmacy school at one point. Isn't that what you told me? So I wonder, how did you go from thinking pharmacy school to doing biological science to going into plant breeding? How did that happen?
So when I had just applied to pharmacy school to try to get in early and did not get in. And I was like, because I had worked at a pharmacy during the summer the last few years. And I was like, this sounds cool. Let me jump into that. Well, I didn't get into the school. And then I was kind of like, wait a minute, maybe that's not what I wanted to do. And like I said, my dad heard the ad for it and I didn't know what I wanted. So I came and listened and I was like, well, this is a good opportunity to try something different that I didn't know about. That was taking a leap of faith, kind of not knowing what I wanted. So I was like, it's UGA. I get my degree from UGA. I get small class sizes and I get experience with professors and doctors in their degree, in their field of study, of knowing what they're doing and applying all of this knowledge that they have, which was amazing because once you get into Griffin, they don't let you go. They get you into research studies where you can see how you like what you would be studying and how those apply out elsewhere. Because I started working in the genetic lab with an entomologist, Dr. Tracy Jenkins, and loved it, except for the actual work. I loved working with her. I didn't necessarily enjoy the extraction part of the process, but I learned that wasn't for me. And it's always knowing what you don't like versus what you do is a big step in figuring out what you want to do. And how I got into agriculture was after I graduated, I was visiting a friend, and the professor, he's not a professor, he was just a breeder at the Griffin campus. And he, Dr. Kathryn Johnson, offered me a part-time job to just work in the lab. And I enjoyed doing that. So I got to see what breeding and agriculture work does and how that affects the world. Because it was with wheat. So, you feed the world through that. So that kind of sparked that interest of what you're doing has a huge impact beyond what you're doing, which is awesome. Like, you get to feed the world. That was one of the things that really interests me in breeding. So when Dr. Johnson kind of gave the opportunity and said, you should go back to grad school and get your master's in plant breeding, I thought about it for a little bit. I wanted to make sure, I wanted to do kind of almost a full cycle within the breeding program to see what the full year looked like. And then I was volunteered with him for about a year. And then that next fall, I started my grad program under him. So there was no getting away from the UGA Griffin campus because he provided the opportunity, the research, and helped get me started up in Athens. Like I took my courses up there, but I did all my research down here. So he got me lab space up in Athens, make sure I knew where to go and get you involved in all of that. So that's the great thing with Griffin is they make sure you are connected both at Griffin, at UGA Athens, if you need to be there, or if you need to be down in Tifton. I know some of my colleagues did classes in Tifton as well, basically because Griffin doesn't let you go.
I wonder, Kathryn, if you would tell us a little bit about, because it's been a little time now since 2006 with that bachelor's. You finished your master's in 2009 with UGA, but I think you're still involved with breeding even today.
I am. I am fortunate enough to start my career actually using my degrees. I went to Monsanto Company when I graduated and worked for 3 cotton breeders when I started, which was, I got to learn a new crop and a new way to think about agriculture. Instead of feeding the world, I got to clothe the world. And that's what impacts me. Through the years, we've gone through some changes with our company and we've joined Bayer. And one of their mission statements that really speaks to me on the ag side is it's hunger for none. Hold on. Health for all and hunger for none, excuse me. So that's their mission statement. And that's what we work towards every day is making sure we have our pharmacy side that makes sure everybody's healthy. And then our ag side makes sure we're fighting the hunger for the world, which is nice to do a small part of that just by doing research.
So you've been involved with this company since you finished your master's, haven't you?
I have. I've been with the company 13 years.
And you left Georgia.
Left Georgia, went out to Scott, Mississippi, which is small town, Mississippi in the middle of nowhere. And, it's funny because it's amazing how this degree has gotten me out here and doing something completely, 20 years ago, I had no idea what breeding was. And, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but it's amazing how these opportunities have just been a way to bless my my future and my life. And I am so thankful for Griffin because y'all really provided a good education, a good resource, but it wasn't just the education. I really felt like you got to know your professors and they really took you in and made sure you knew more than just the education, the knowledge part. You knew about life and how what you do affects the world and how to use that for your community. I feel like that was one of the big things I got from Griffin campus.
I know one of the things when you and I talked earlier is that you wanted to make sure you had the opportunity to really talk to the point of why agriculture for a career. So we want to make sure we get that out there.
Exactly. So agriculture, I didn't realize when I started, I thought it was farming and you just plant the seed and it grows. Agriculture as a career is so much more than that. It is scientific. It is getting more precise in how you do that. Even at the universities and within companies, they're using computers in almost every way we collect data. We use drones to collect data. So we are really trying to be the most effective and efficient that we can when we are trying to grow these crops that affect everybody. Everybody needs food. Everybody needs clothing, cotton. So what we do has a direct impact on everybody. And that's nice to feel like you're helping your community, your world. That was the part of agriculture. It's so basic, but it's got so many opportunities to learn different things. If you want to be an engineer, you have ag engineering that you can go into. You can do data science to get all of that information. There's huge leadership opportunities, and even just if you're in the testing, there's just so much precision equipment that we use. It's you have to have a lot of knowledge and experience to do what we do. And I think that's the really cool part of how we get to affect change. The biggest thing is I just want to say thank you to Griffin campus and the opportunities that y'all provided, and just how awesome everybody is, from admissions to all the professors to everybody you interact with. Griffin campus is a family, and they make sure you are taken care of. And that's one of the things you don't get anywhere else the same way. Like, you come in, you have no idea what you're doing, but they take care of you from picking your classes out to making sure you get the right research experience you need. And then even after that, they want to make sure you have the opportunities you need afterwards to go where you want to. Like I said, I had no idea, and yet got a job, then got a master's degree, which was a roundabout way of figuring out what you want to do with your life. And I wouldn't have had that had I gone to Athens, to Tifton, or anywhere else. So thank you, Griffin. Appreciate everybody.
Thank you, Kathryn, for sharing your story with us. If you're interested in learning more about the degrees that we offer here through the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences at the UGA Griffin campus, or the other degrees through the other colleges, please contact us at griffin.uga.edu or at 770-412-4400.